They love me in Israel. Dr. Michael Goldstein is running for election to the U.S. House to represent Connecticut's 4th congressional district. And I got to tell you, he's got to be very proud of his kid, his son Jonathan, because Jonathan has been relentless on getting his father on the show. I mean, the truth is, we don't cover a lot of Connecticut politics. We just don't. I mean, I know Ned just a little bit, the governor. But, we do more Jersey, obviously. But the kid, Jonathan, was so excited about his dad. And then I met Jonathan and Michael at the Trump rally on Sunday. So here he is once again running in Connecticut, Dr. Michael Goldstein. Doc, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Sid, and I'm really proud of the fact that you stand up against these anti-Semitic Democrats. It's what's going on there is just disgusting. So I'm excited to be here, and Connecticut seems to be like the forgotten state, and it really shouldn't be.
It's a beautiful state. I'll give you that. It's gorgeous. It's probably the nicest of the three. But, yeah, it's not like New York radio discusses Connecticut a lot. But I will say this. Thank you for saying what you said, because I'm getting a little tired, Dr. Mike, of watching the last 2 days a lot, MSNBC, CNN, of being called a Nazi. Clearly, I was kidding when I made that statement at the rally, but that doesn't stop these people from referring to me as a Nazi. And I got to tell you, it's not okay.
No, it's actually not okay when you consider the fact that the true Nazis are really the progressive Democrats. I mean, if you think about it, we're living in the 1930s. I mean, Jewish kids are being beaten up on college campuses. They're being attacked. The professors teach anti-Semitic stuff because countries like Qatar are subsidizing these universities, and the universities are taking the money and looking the other way. My son and I, we were at a protest rally against the Palestinians with a bunch of fundamentalist Christians one weekend, and we're watching these people, and they're screaming, revolution. They're also screaming, kill the Jews. They're screaming, intifada and river to the seas. These people are the Nazis, and the fact that the Democratic Party and the leadership in this country is not standing up against these people is because they want their votes, and their votes are more important than being morally right and standing up against hate. And that, to me, is absolutely disgusting.
Well said, Dr. Michael Goldstein, running for Congress in Connecticut. Now, I like your slogan. John sent me some stuff this morning. You're a very impressive guy, all kidding aside. You're a doctor and a lawyer. You're a Jewish mother's dream, Mike, a doctor and a lawyer. And you want to help make America, quote, healthy again, which is actually the title of my friend's book. She's on Fox News. What the hell's her name again? Justin, she works at Sloan Kettering. She's pretty. She's on Fox News. She's come up with Bernie all the time.
Yeah, Nicole Sapphire.
Nicole Sapphire, that's right. Make America healthy again. Tell Michael, this audience, exactly what you mean by that.
Well, the first point is that socially, this country is so divided. I mean, when you go out and talk to people, there's such polarization, and there's these super radical Democrats who you cannot reason with. They have this totally hateful attitude toward Republicans. There's no compromising, and you can't have a country that works if it's divided. A country works when it's united. We're called the United States of America. The last time we tried to become the divided states of America was when we had the Civil War, and that was a nightmare and a disaster. And unity ultimately won, and unity has to win this election.
Unity, that's exactly what it's all about. So tell me this. You were saying that Connecticut is kind of the forgotten state. In your own district there, 4th District in Connecticut, what are some of the issues, Dr. Mike, above and beyond health, that you're looking to combat, the changes you can make to make that district in Connecticut better?
Well, okay, one of the biggest problems we have are the roads. Interstate 95 goes through the coastal part of Connecticut, and it's the worst road in the country. One of the worst roads in the country in terms of congestion. A trip that should take you like 20 minutes can take an hour and a half sometimes. Because Interstate 95 hasn't been touched since the 1950s when it was built. I mean, they're starting to work on some of the off-ramps, But, 80% of the money to fix it could come from the federal government. And one of the things that I talk about is just putting one of those movable barriers like they have on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway and they used to have on the Tappan Zee Bridge, so you can have 4 lanes on the heavy side and 2 lanes on the light side, and you could make the traffic flow. I mean, they're starting to do a little bit of work finally on some of the exit ramps, because when people get off, they're sitting there in that right lane, and then the right lane crawls. So by making longer exit ramps, you can make it move a little better. But that's just one thing. The bigger thing is the economy. The economy in Connecticut is not that great, because you have a government that's all Democrats. We have a Democratic governor, Democratic legislature, 5 Democratic congressmen, and 2 Democratic senators, and nothing is working for the people. Connecticut, my district pays a significant percent of Connecticut's income tax and the federal taxes, and we're getting nothing back. And businesses you need a place that's going to stimulate businesses, create jobs, so that people have opportunities. You need to curb inflation and energy prices. I mean, these are national issues, but I mean, look what's happened to the gasoline and heating oil under the Biden artificially created energy crisis. Never in our history have we created an energy crisis on our own, and that to me is just unbelievable.
It's interesting you talk about how there's the economy in Connecticut is not that great, and I always thought that it really was. I didn't spend a lot of time in Connecticut, but there are so many beautiful, beautiful areas. And I remember going to New Haven. I did a sports talk show once with Jody McDonald, the old days at WFAN, at some place. It's a huge, huge place. They have horse racing, and it's a place really for sports fans to hang out. You could bet the races and other things as well. This is many, many years ago, and it wasn't far from Yale University. And I remember saying, wow, I was surprised that it was such a rough area. And there were more areas like that. So I think the misconception, especially from folks in New York, is because there were such gorgeous areas in Connecticut that it's a wealthy state and it's all beautiful. But the truth is, Mike, as you just said, that's not really the case.
Yeah. So, for example, like in my district, one of the poorest cities in Connecticut is Bridgeport. And Bridgeport has just about the worst public schools in the state. And when we marched in the Puerto Rican Day Parade, I was the only one of 2 Republicans that did that. We started to talk to people. And one of the things that people are doing there is they're sending their kids to private schools and parochial schools, and to do it, they're taking on like second jobs and third jobs because they want to give their kids a chance. But the reality is that if we had school vouchers there, people could then go to other schools. These people wouldn't have to take 2 or 3 jobs to educate their kids, and they would have opportunities. I mean, in Bridgeport too, Bridgeport used to be a manufacturing hub. It's basically all gone, and there's huge potential for redevelopment there. There could be federal enterprise zones there. There's large areas where there used to be factories. Like we went to the Remington factory. It's shut down. Next to it is this huge vacant lot. I mean, these are places where you could build jobs, where you could build housing, affordable housing. If somebody just decided to have the will and the desire to actually work for the people.
So in closing, once again, it was very nice meeting you and your son, Jonathan. You should be very proud of him. He's out there fighting for you.
I absolutely am.
He's great. He's great. Fights for you every day. And seeing you at the Trump rally, that was pretty cool. And I know for me, I had an amazing experience having the opportunity to speak. But forget about speaking. I was there for 5 hours after I spoke and watched everybody else. And all these reports about a hateful, angry Nazi rally, nothing could be further from the truth. It was an unbelievably enthusiastic, positive, great event. What did you take away from the big Trump rally on Sunday?
I thought the enthusiasm was unbelievable. People calling it a Nazi rally are living in some alternate reality. It was much more reality about unity, about patriotism, about building America, about bringing back a country that has basically been destroyed by the worst president in 100 years, and fixing what these people have messed up. And we cannot let 4 more years of this stuff happen.
So, Michael, what is the best way for folks listening to you right now that want to help you out in your race in that 4th district in Connecticut? What's the best way for them to do that?
Go to my website, www.goldsteinforcongress.com. We need money. We're with a David versus Goliath battle to win the hearts and minds of people in Connecticut so we can make change. And if you want to donate, if you want to volunteer, we can, even if you don't live in our district, we could use people for phone banking. So if you want to help, you want to fight a battle, you want to fight for America, get in touch with me.
All right.